Hey guys, it's Greg Hardy here. How often do you get to the end of the month and wonder where all your money went? In today's video, we're going to cover the 4 most commonly used budgeting methods and how to apply a budget in your life. Hopefully, by the end of this video, you'll be able to understand the importance of budgeting and find one that will work for you. But before we get started, I ask that you please hit that like and subscribe button. It helps me help you by knowing that you like this content and that I can create more of it. Plus, it'll help me reach my goal of growing this channel and reaching more people. Now let's get started. So what does it mean to be broke? The word broke and poor get used interchangeably, but have 2 completely different meanings. Being broke is a financial state that means lacking money. Being broke means that you once had money, mismanaged it, and lost it, but you still have skills that you can replicate to make it back, provided that you stop replicating the same mismanaged cycle over and over. Whereas being poor means you never had the money to begin with. The stronger your financial literacy is, there's a good chance you'll have a strong financial well-being too. I recently read an article on CNBC, and it stated that those with greater financial literacy find it easier to make ends meet in a typical month, are more likely to have higher credit scores and tap lower cost loans, and less likely to be constrained by debt or be considered financially fragile. When it comes to better managing your finances, one of the most effective tools is to start with a budget. Now, I have a video on my channel all about financial literacy, and I suggest that you check that one out too. A budget helps you figure out your short-term and long-term goals and work toward them with guided direction. A consistent budget forces you to lay out your goals, save and invest your money, track your progress on a weekly or monthly basis, and ultimately make your dreams a reality if done correctly. Having a budget can help you feel more in control of your finances. Some of the most important aspects of budgeting is to keep you from overspending, being more intentional with your money, plan for emergencies, and save for retirement. Budgets just give you a sense of direction and stability. Let's go over the most popular budgeting methods, starting with the 50-30-20 budget. The 50-30-20 budget. 50% of your net income should go to your essentials like housing, childcare, groceries. 30% should go to your non-essentials like entertainment, eating out, and vacations. And 20% should go to savings like an emergency fund, retirement, or debt repayment. For example, if your take-home pay is $5,000 a month, you can allocate $2,500 to your needs, $1,500 to your wants, and $1,000 to your savings or debt payments. This is a pretty straightforward budget to grasp, but may not work well in more expensive cities where housing costs are high. Also, the 50-30-20 rule lumps debt into needs, but requires you to make minimum payments only. You can't make maximum progress with minimum payments. Another thing is that this budget stays the same no matter what stage of life you're in. Lots of debt or no debt at all, it's still the same. Now let's discuss the 80-20 budget. With the 80-20 budgeting method, you put 20% of your take-home pay into savings, while the remaining 80% is for spending. It's sometimes referred to as the pay yourself first budget. You can start by setting up an automatic transfer of your income into a savings or retirement account a day or 2 after your paycheck hits your account. The 80-20 budget is a good option because it makes it easier to track your expenses, and it can be a less overwhelming budgeting method to start with. The 80-20 budget can be viewed as a more simplified version of the 50-30-20 budget by combining the needs and wants into one category. The 80-20 budget may be a good option for you, not only because of the flexibility that it offers, but it does make it easier to track your expenses, and it can be a less overwhelming budgeting method to start with. For those of you familiar with Dave Ramsey, you'll know that his favorite budgeting method is the zero-based budget. In a zero-based budget, every single dollar of your income is assigned to a specific expense, leaving you with a balance of 0 at the end of the month. You start by listing out your total income for the month. For a regular income, use the lowest income that you've made. Next, take your last 2 to 3 months worth of expenses as a guide for the coming month's expenses. For fluctuating expenses, it's best to use the highest dollar amount that you've had. You could always adjust that later. List out all of your expenses, including giving, savings, extras, or any holiday or special events that are in the month that you're budgeting for. The goal is when you subtract all of those expenses from your income, it should equal zero. This is a working budget, meaning that you need to do it at the beginning of each month. The envelope system budget is a method that is similar to the zero-based budget, but with one major difference. You use cash only. In the envelope budget, you put specific amounts of cash money into envelopes representing the different budgeted categories. Once you've exhausted the funds in an envelope, you can no longer spend within that budgeted category until the next month. Now, if you have remaining funds at the end of the month, you have a few options. You can roll over to the same category for the next month, transfer to another envelope, or put it into savings. Your behavior plays a vital role in your finances and how they are handled. For example, impulse spending can lead to or increase debt, while a disciplined saver can accumulate wealth. Makes sense, right? Personal finance is about 80% behavior and only 20% knowledge. Rule number 1 of personal finance is to not spend more than you make. And rule number 2 is don't forget rule number 1. So now that we have covered the most popular budgeting methods, let's discuss how to start a budget. Step number 1 is to list your income. In order to make a budget, you have to have money, right? List all sources of income, from paychecks to side hustles. Step 2 is to list all expenses. Now that we know what money is coming in, we have to know what money is going out. The more detailed your expenses are, the more detailed your budget is. If some expenses vary from month to month, look back over the past 3 months and take the highest number, because it is better to have extra money than to be short money. Step 3, subtract your expenses from your income. Hopefully when you do this, you have a positive number. If not, it's time to start trimming down your spending. Step 4, track your spending throughout the month. By doing this, you'll get a better understanding of where your money is going and what you could be overspending on. Step 5 is to rinse and repeat each month. Since budgeting isn't on autopilot and requires attention to detail, you'll need to repeat steps 1 through 4 each month. Now, depending on which budgeting method you choose, depends on how detailed you need to be. But it's always a good idea to know what money is coming in and what money is going out. I can't stress enough how important it is to have good financial goals in place. Or how do you know what you're working or saving towards? Budgeting and setting goals takes discipline and accountability. If you need help with goal setting, I invite you to watch a recent video I did on setting SMART goals. I'm sure you've all heard stories about lottery winners and professional athletes who've made tens of millions of dollars and then end up broke. According to Yahoo Finance, somewhere between 33 to 70% of all lottery winners go bankrupt within a few years. As for professional athletes, the stats are even worse. 78% of them will go broke after just 3 years of retirement. So what about teachers and janitors who make an average wage but yet retire with millions and millions of dollars? Having a large income doesn't guarantee that you'll be set for life. It's not about how much money you make, it's about how well you manage it. One thing's for sure, if you're tired of being broke every month, you need to make a change. It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter. Stop what you're doing right now and assess your situation. Is it an income problem or is it a spending problem? Next, decide which budgeting method is best for you. I'd consider starting with the zero-based budget or the 80-20 budget and go from there. At the end of the day, the best budget is the one you will stick with. As I've said before, a budget is simply telling your money where to go rather than wondering where it went. Budgeting keeps you accountable to yourself, to your partner, or to your spouse. Creating a budget and sticking to it will help you win with money and attain your financial goals. A budget takes the guesswork out of spending and allows you to know how much you have at any given time. It should eliminate the need for accumulating unnecessary debt and running up high credit card balances. Plain and simple, a budget gives you peace of mind. A budget isn't a tool for your toolbox, it is the toolbox. I really hope you liked this video and that you got something out of it. I encourage you to watch more videos as it relates to budgeting and setting goals on this channel. And if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It means a lot. Thanks for watching.